there was a big lull after World's Finest closed down, and Mike and I visited Northern California. I didn't play. I was going to college at the time. I met my wife. I was dating she's my girlfriend at the time, but I was trying to finish college, and I didn't play Street Fighter. Alpha came out. Of course, I played it. Just for fun. Played it on the weekends. I was not top tier at that game. I don't know how I would have ranked at it. But I believe Mike was the best at Alpha 1. I mean, Mike invented strategies. His kin was just, he beat John Choi a few times, and I think John Choi and Mike were the best at Alpha 1. But I believe Alpha 1 was just just crap, terrible game. It wasn't worth any amount of time playing it. Wasn't very good, but I believe that Mike was probably the best at it, just on a overall level. John Choi definitely right up there with Mike, but didn't really like the game. Didn't play it that much. Alpha 2 came out. It was okay, but again, it revolved all around custom counters, and custom combos, and alpha counters, and it was just I probably got the reputation of a turtler just from Alpha 2, when in reality, on the old games, I was like the anti-turtler. I'd hand out business cards. I'll have you in the corner in 20 seconds or less, or your money back. Like that was. I was not a turtler in the earlier games, but when Alpha 2 came out, why the hell should I attack when I can just freaking jump back, do 3 spin kicks, and then freaking custom combo you with Kin and take off a freaking 25%, dude? It's just stupid. So, Alpha 2 was fun to mess around with. Tons of characters. Great recreational game to have fun. I probably played about 8 hours a week. Played on Saturday for quite a bit, but during the week didn't play it. And Alex Valle was just a beast. Definitely the best at Alpha 2. I'd say without question. But what was interesting was that Alex Valle, he must have played Alpha 2. He was playing it, maybe 12 hours a day. He was playing Alpha 2 like Mike and I and Tomo were playing Champion and Hyper Fighting back in the early days. He's playing it that often. And he was very talented at it. His custom combos were probably unparalleled. He had the best custom combos, and he would work on his custom combos. And custom combos is another bullcrap, stupid, idiot thing. To you get right up next to a character, you trip him, say, then you walk up next to him. He stands up. If he tries to counter, then you go ding, and then there goes 40% of your health just from pushing one button. That's not really the Street Fighter that that's not a purist. That's more like Marvel vs. Capcom to me, if you know what I'm saying. Of course, that's going to anger a lot of people, and people are going to think I'm making excuses, but I'm just telling you straight out. I'll make another video on what my philosophies of beating down people was, and it's totally not Alpha 2. Any strategy in Alpha 2, that's for sure. But in Alpha 2, I just wanted to mention that a part-time player like me, competing with full-time players, the best there is, still got 4th place at the biggest Alpha 2 tournament. And I think that says a lot, that I got 4th place. And I barely lost to Jason Nelson, who I respect. The kid, he's a very good player. And I barely lost to John Choi. I was 1-0 in the semis against John Choi, my Akuma versus, I think he was playing Ken. I was 1-0 against him. I could see in his eyes he was worried. He beat me. He barely beat me, but he did. He pulled it out. John Choi, man, just a great player. And Nelson, I got a bad reputation from that tournament because I didn't like the controllers personally. They were giving me trouble. I couldn't do certain things that I could, but I wasn't confident with it because the controller's kind of weird. A lot of people at that tournament were complaining about the controllers. A lot of people. So when I did I could have beat Nelson, but I did this custom combo, and I couldn't do any moves in the custom combo, so I just did standing strong, and I think I lost because of that, because I only did like that much damage when I could have done like that much, and I could have beat him, and then I would have, eliminated him, but I didn't, and I lost, and that's just how it is. You can't win every time. But I've never beat Jason Nelson. I think I played 2 tournaments, Alpha 2, and I think I lost both times. He's a good player, but yeah, I'm a turtler at Alpha 2. I sit back and I just try to annoy the hell out of you by just charging my super and alpha countering you, doing that damage, and then turtle more, alpha counter, turtle more, alpha counter. I mean, that's a good strategy, and hey, I was top 4 at the game, so that's good. But it's a misconception, though, that Alex Valle was undefeated at Alpha 2. Right before that Battle of the Bay tournament, there was a big tournament at Golfland. I got first place. I beat Alex Valle. I beat him. I beat his Rolento. I won first place. I was the only person ever to beat Alex Valle at Alpha 2. And a lot of people say, wow, that was pretty good. But yeah, I beat him, dude. And I was happy about it. But considering the dude has an Alpha 2 cabinet in his house and he's playing that game probably 20 times more than me, I felt really good about it. But I'm not going to say I'm better than him. He's definitely better than me. I believe Jason Nelson, John Choi, Alex Valle, Mike Watson, at the minimum, those 4 players were better than me at Alpha 2. No, I guarantee you, they were better. But that's Alpha 2, and then after that, it was just a joke. Street Fighter 3 horribly received. I don't even know why the heck kids like this game. It's just absolute garbage. Virtual Fighter is a good game. It looks good. Way more deep. I mean, compared to Street Fighter 3, it's just a way better game. People like Street Fighter 3, man. I just don't get it, dude. The game just sucks. But let me give a little video about my, as if anybody cares, my strategies for winning old school Street Fighter and how it really was in the tournament, because a lot of people don't understand how it really was. Old school Street Fighter, I believe I had one of the my strategy in particular was pretty much exactly the same as Tomo's, which was a rare minority. Tomo and I played similarly. He just played at a much higher skill level. That's pretty much the bottom line. One thing that Tomo could do that I could never do, well, first of all, he had faster reaction time. That's number one. I could never do that because my physical ability would not allow. I could never be that good at reaction time. The second thing Tomo did that I believe no one else I've ever seen except for Tomo Sasaki do and Mike Watson is that they were able to jump straight up over almost every single fireball and know what speed that fireball was, and then just jump straight up over it every time almost. And to do that is the highest level, man. That's very, very good. Back then, you'd have a matchup. You'd have like a typical matchup. I mean, you'd have like Guile versus Rue. All you'd be trying to do is you wouldn't try to get near them. Tomo and I, this is talking about our strategy. You never want to get near somebody because that introduces the element of percentage, right? If we're standing next to each other and I duck and he throws me, I mean, there's a certain percentage that's going to work. You could call that 50%, right? Because if I do the same and he does the same, or there's always a counter. And when you're in close like that, you're forcing a reaction. You're rolling the dice because you're not going to guess lucky. You're not going to do the right thing every time. If if you jump next to somebody and you're in equal footing, or you take a choice, there's always something that the other person could do. However, when I'm playing Guile and I'm sitting in crouch and I'm 4 inches away, there's nothing you could do to put a percentage on me to make me lose health. All you're gonna do is tick 1 ticks away from throwing fireballs, and I could match that. So I could see the fireball come out, and then I could match it with my sonic boom, or I could jump straight up over it. But when I'm sitting back here, it's a lot different than if you're up like this, because from back here, I'm in total control. I have 100% safety. There's nothing you can do. Okay. Which is Tomo's and I's strategy. Stay back. Force them to come to us. Okay? So with Guile, it's simple strategy. You just want to stay 1 sliver ahead in health than the other guy. One sliver. The whole game is about one sliver. Okay, that's it. You force the strategy on the person because I have my strategy, you have your strategy, okay? However, when I'm winning by one sliver, you're going to have to modify your strategy and you're going to have to come to me, okay? Changing your game plan. My game plan is the same because I'm in the lead. You are down one sliver, you have to change your game plan to come to me. It's going to throw you out of your comfort zone. And you're going to fall right into my game plan. That's the master plan. Okay, every game I played was about that. I'd come to a tournament, I'd pick Blanca or whatever. I'd get a lead like this. I sit back. You know, if you're playing like Honda or Zangief or something like that, the only way you could beat me is you're going to have to throw me. And that's pretty hard, man, because when you jump, I just ball to the other side of the screen. You know what I mean? You can't get near me. You just sit there, and then when you come, I go the other side. And it's extremely difficult. So I would be very aggressive at the beginning, very aggressive, until I get a lead I feel like you can't come back from no matter how good you are. And then I just hold that lead. Or if you are just doing insane things, which is, you know, falling into the same thing twice, which are, you know, a definition of insanity. I just keep doing it until I beat you down. Or if I felt like you weren't if I did something and I felt like you weren't able to counter it, like the Blanca train, which is very difficult to counter. You know, trip you with roundhouse, roll behind you, standing strong, bite you again. You know, to people like Chun-Li and Dalsum and Vega and other players that really couldn't counter that well, I just repeat it until you're dead. There's nothing you can do. You can't jump out of it. The timing is perfect. You hit the strong. You're still blocking. You can't jump. Can't do anything. He just mounts you. And then he rolls and does it again. Also, Blanca has a unique ability where he can jump behind your head and he can bite you. And it's very, very difficult to throw him. You can even see me jumping behind you and try to throw me, and I'll still bite you. Because it seems like he's biting you before he even hits the ground. It's just cheap as hell. So that's a little insight on how to play. I mean, lots of players, like, I remember one tournament, typical, George Nago was just like, man, you know, I'm just going to do the same thing Jeff does. So, you know, he chose Blanca. I didn't want to play Blanca versus Blanca. It's just boring. So I picked Guile, just to teach him a lesson. Threw a Sonic Boom right away. He's losing by one sliver. He tries to, you know, push me back in the corner. I'm happy in the corner. It's fine. The only way he can do damage is roll, which is not really doing damage because he's going to have to block Sonic Booms after he rolls. So, you know, it's almost a lock. So I'm one sliver in the lead. Forces him to get out of his game plan and try to come next to me and try to, basically he has to bite me to do any damage. So he's trying to jump up and down and walk in, and I'm just sitting there holding the joystick back, can't do anything. And, you know, he's trying to do all these things to trip me or whatever. And then it just gets worse for him. You know, he gets out of his game plan, tries something aggressive to try to come back, and then I do massive damage, and then it's over before you know it. That's happened a lot of times. So it's like aggressive in the beginning to get the lead. And then once you get the lead, depending on the skill level and type of character you're playing, you have to assess whether they can come back or not. You know, like, you don't want to play around with, like, Rue. You want to finish him because Rue can just jump behind your head once and it's game over. So you want to finish like a Rue, but against players like, you know, they can't finish you with just one neck kick, you know, you can play with them more. If you understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, the matches back then were more of a chess game. I do this, you must do this. If you don't do this, you pay. It's a bigger chess game. Compared to the newer games, you know, I do this, it doesn't matter what you do, you can just super, and that's the solution every time. There's nothing like that in old school Street Fighter. There's no 100% solution to anything. You have to use skill to come back, and positioning. If in old school Street Fighter you were playing, you know, say Guile or something, and against Guile, and you thought he was going to throw a Sonic Boom and you jumped straight up, but he didn't throw it, he could walk forward and low forward you on some characters, and you can't block that. and that would be a reasonable payment for making a mistake of jumping straight up. Because jumping straight up, it's not an aggressive move. It's not warranting 30% damage plus net kick coming right up, right? It's not just jumping straight up one time is not a mistake so great that warrants you losing the whole game. That's how new games are, man. You can't make one. You can't even jump straight up. You can't do anything. Because if you land on that super and then they start the net kick game, I mean, it's like too much of a payment for just one little tiny mistake. I mean, in old school Street Fighter, a big mistake equaling a super is like if I throw a fireball right away and then Ryu jumps on my head or Ken and goes boom, 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 right? And that's game over. A guy with this fierce, strong blade kick and like that. But that's a big mistake. You see, big mistake, you should pay with the round. Little tiny mistake of, hey, I pushed short trying to hit his low forward and then I ate the super. That's a little mistake warranting a big damage. It just doesn't. It's not equal. So that's kind of it's hard. I'm not articulating great, I don't think, but I kind of understand where I'm going with that. The damage isn't equal to the level of mistake. So it's a whole strategy thing like that.